Hello everyone, so welcome to my channel. So in these videos, we will continue our materials about the experiment design. So in these videos, we still focus on the single factor experiment. So previous videos, we already talk about how we can use the F-test and how we can use the confidence interval to check about the effects of our treatment. So in these videos, we will talk a little more about how we can use hypothesis tests to help us check the difference between the different treatment. So about this one, in the videos about the F-test, about the ANOVA, we said in that one, what is our goal? We want to check about one null hypothesis look like this. So here we want to check about the H naught, which is mu1 equal mu2 until mu8. And we said if after we do the F-test, we find we can reject this null hypothesis, then what we can get at least one pair of this mean is not, or treatment mean is not equal each other. But as we said, if in the experiment people are more interested in these details about which pair of this treatment are different, then what we should do the pair hypothesis test. So that means if we have A numbers of treatment, then we need to do how many pair tests. So the value is about this combination. So it's about the factorial of A divided by the A minus 2 factorial, 2 factorial. So based on this one, we can get which exactly which two or maybe more than two like pairs of the treatment are different. And then in our previous video, we also talk about how we can use the confidence interval to help us find or check about the difference between the two mean of the treatment. So we said if we use the estimator yi bar, yi dot bar minus yk dot bar to estimation our difference between mu I and mu k. Then by using the MSE, the mean square of error, as our estimator of the sigma square, the sample, variance, then what we can construct a t statistics, and then by our knowledge of the confidence interval, we can have this part. So here we can find the left end point is just the difference between our sample mean minus this part. And then the right end point is plus the exactly same term by this one. So if you look at my previous video about the confidence interval, you should know here we have a very specific name for this term. So in general, what we call this is a margin of error. So let me write down this. So denoted by ME. However, if we talk about the multiple comparison, or in other name, we have a special name for this. We call this is a Fisher's LSD test, or we say Fisher's LSD methods. Then we will have a new name for exactly same term. So what we will call this least significant difference, denoted by LSD. So next time, if anyone asks you what is LSD in the Fisher's test, then actually it's just ME, the margin of error in the classical hypothesis test, or say the classical confidence interval. So then why we use this, or why we talk about the confidence interval? Because if you look at my previous video and lecture about the confidence interval and the hypothesis test, we find this is have some relationship between them, right? So if we have the check the absolute value of the difference of our sample mean. Then, if this one is larger than our LSD, or say the ME, then we can reject our null hypothesis. So let me write down this conclusion. So of course, for this Fisher's LSD test, for our null hypothesis, this is we assume mu I equal mu k. And then for the alternative hypothesis, this is a two-side test. So we have an equation for our H1. And then our conclusion is we can reject our H0, the null hypothesis, if the absolute value of our yi dot bar minus yk dot bar is greater than our LSD or ME, no matter which one you call it. So this is a way for us to do kind of hypothesis test by our term from the confidence interval. So let me make a quick conclusion about this hypothesis test. So when we have one experiment with more than two treatment, so there is two ways to check about the effect of the treatment. The first step is we do the F test, the ANOVA first, which means we check the equation like mu1 equal mu2 until mu a. And then if the question, like the experiment, want to know the details, and we also get a conclusion, like we will reject our null hypothesis, then we can do the pair or say the multiple comparison of our Fisher's LSD test. Another method is we just directly do the multiple comparison, and until we find one of the reject of our H0 null hypothesis, then we can stop. We can give a conclusion about our treatment is have infections, have the different infection to our response. So which one we should choose? This depends on the real questions, on the real world. It depends on the topic of the research. If the research didn't focus or didn't interest in the exactly which pair of the treatment, then we should directly use the ANOVA F test, and whenever we reject the null hypothesis, we can stop. But if the question, if the experiment, or if the topic of the research is want to know which is different, for example, something about medicine, right? If this is very interesting or sensitive to the dosage of the medicines, for example, is it low, is it medium, or is it high? Because this will be right on the prescription of this medicine. All this need to be sent to the doctors when people really use it. Then of course, no matter we use the F test or not, we maybe need to interest in the multiple comparison. Then maybe we can just use multiple comparison to do all of them. And so what I want to say here is mathematics is always a tool, and the statistic is same, it's just a tool. So how we can design our single factor experiment is always depends on the research on our topics. So this is how people will use the tools and to solve our questions in real life. So this is the end of this videos about the single factor experiment. Of course, this is just a brief touch about the single factor experiment. There are much more information about this, and also we have the multi-factors experiments. So if you're interested in that one, so please leave a comment under this videos. And thank you for watching my videos, and please subscribe my channel, and see you in my next videos.